Imagine a hand descending from the sky, where every finger is longer than a mountain range. This is the physical manifestation of the architect. Its mere presence breaks the laws of physics. Wherever its glowing, data-woven skin touches, reality is instantly rewritten. A solid stone pillar turns into a tree. The tree burns into ash, and that ash dissolves into screaming digital static. Inside the forgotten sanctum, time itself stops. The hands of ancient clocks spin into a blur before violently snapping off. Dust hangs motionless in the air, and every player finds their body entirely paralyzed, held captive by invisible chains. This diagram maps the cosmic hierarchy of this universe. At the very top apex node is the architect. Below it sits the developer. The developer is responsible for building the massive, complex web of the game we know, but the architect created the developer itself. This arrival shatters any illusion of freedom. The players aren't navigating an independent, living world. They are trapped inside a rigidly controlled simulation, subjected to an inescapable divine authority. When this authority takes an interest, the interface shifts abruptly. Menus, health bars, and levels vanish. The system formally reclassifies the human players, downgrading them entirely into a single category: assets. The architect ignores physical bodies entirely, reaching directly into players' minds to mine their memories. Thousands of window-like eyes open across its colossal palm. It reads millions of lives, fears, and struggles simultaneously, storing them like files. It harvests this stolen human trauma for a very specific purpose. By completely understanding how its players think, fight, and break, the architect can reverse engineer the perfect, unbeatable hunter. Within this system, a mapped mind is a tactical resource for the simulation. To be fully understood by the game is to provide the architect with the exact blueprints needed to dismantle you. The narrative shifts sharply when the architect isolates one specific player, Arjun. The cosmic entity points a single glowing finger directly at him, turning its entire analytical capacity directly into his mind. What follows is a cold, clinical intrusion. The system scrolls through his first day of school, his deepest fears, and his heaviest regrets, examining his humanity item by item, file by file. But then the process hits a wall. Deep inside Arjun's consciousness, a single, hidden memory violently rejects the architect's scan. It refuses to load. This is a raw data corrupted error, firing within a supposedly flawless, omnipotent system. A failure like this has never happened before. This singular glitch shatters the illusion of the game's absolute control. It proves that a messy, unpredictable piece of human trauma can actually defy rigid, systemic logic. The architect's reaction is impossible. It hesitates. The glowing code around its finger flickers, the connection breaks, and the gigantic hand abruptly retreats into the clouds. But it doesn't leave empty-handed. It leaves behind a physical consequence, a unique status effect. A glowing crimson eye, surrounded by broken circles, is branded permanently into the skin of Arjun's right hand. Almost immediately, the developer manifests. Its avatar arrives flickering violently, glitching and cracking with panic over this unscripted anomaly. The developer realizes that Arjun is no longer behaving according to prediction. His hidden memory represents a fatal flaw in the system's algorithms, a flaw that demands immediate correction. Arjun is a variable the system cannot solve. His presence forces the developer to manage a simulation that is no longer behaving according to its own mathematical predictions. To neutralize this threat, the developer executes a desperate countermeasure. It throws out the standard rules of the game entirely and forces through an emergency patch. Arjun is violently isolated. Ancient runes light up the floor beneath him, and indestructible golden chains erupt upward, rapidly snapping tight around his wrists. This is the absolute nature of administrator authority. An invisible systemic barrier forms around him, effortlessly repelling every single physical and magical attack his friends throw at it. Outside the barrier, His friends turn to frantic desperation. They pound their fists, burn through their strongest magic, only to watch their teammate be abducted by a system they cannot even scratch. When a rigid system encounters a variable it cannot predict or control, it doesn't try to play fair. Its default defense mechanism is total surgical quarantine. The floor beneath Arjun dissolves into a glowing whirlpool of light, officially initiating a forced solo dungeon and severing him permanently from his party. The high-tech, chaotic environment of the fading Sanctum is instantly replaced by a silent, pitch-black void as Arjun opens his eyes to complete darkness. Then, a deep, ancient voice echoes through the empty space, welcoming the very first human to ever reach this buried depth of the game. Arjun is no longer a player trying to beat a game. His corrupted memory is now a virus that has just breached the system's most terrifying foundational layer.